Please come, sit with me. Let us take a deep breath together. Gently, fully. And as we exhale, let us leave behind the noise of the world, the rush of tasks and deadlines, and arrive in this present moment together, awake and alive. I am humbled to sit with you today and share something very close to my heart. It is a meeting point where the ancient teachings of the Buddha softly meet the fast, high-stress rhythms of modern corporate life. Perhaps you might ask, what could a monk possibly have to say about the corporate world? That world of KPIs, emails, profit margins, and endless Zoom meetings? Let me share with you this. Mindfulness, this gentle practice of being fully present, is quietly, steadily transforming how people work, how leaders lead, and how entire organizations breathe. Once, a student asked the Buddha, "Master, what is the greatest victory one can win?" The Buddha replied, "To conquer the mind is the greatest victory." And today, that victory is unfolding not just in monasteries and forests, but in meeting rooms, boardrooms, and open-plan offices. Let me take you to a story. A young woman named Eliza worked in a giant tech firm. She had a corner office, a salary with more zeros than she could count, and a calendar that made her feel more like a machine than a human. One day, she collapsed not because of illness, but because her spirit was weary, her mind crowded, her heart hollow. Doctors said, "Take a break." But her friend, who once came to hear me speak, said, "Come sit with the monks." She stayed for a week in silence. Just 1 week. At first, she couldn't stop checking her phone. On the 3rd day, she wept. On the 5th, she began to breathe. Again, not just through her lungs, but through her being. On the 7th day, she looked up and said, "I didn't know I was lost until I stopped running." Today, Eliza leads a wellness initiative in her company. Every day starts with a 10-minute silent mindfulness session. Managers are trained not only in performance metrics, but in compassion. Feedback sessions begin with a bow. And stress? It didn't disappear, but now it is met with awareness, not avoidance. What changed? Just one thing: presence. And presence, dear listener, is everything. Mindfulness is not a technique. It is a way of being. It is not to be squeezed between back-to-back meetings like a vitamin pill. It is to be infused into every breath, every interaction, every decision. And when it is, even a company can become a temple of awakening. Once, when I was a younger monk, I was invited to speak to a group of CEOs. They were skeptical. They asked, "Will this mindfulness increase productivity?" I smiled and said, "Perhaps, but it will increase something far more valuable: peace." You see, our ancient scriptures tell us that peace is the highest happiness. A mind at peace is sharper, more creative, and far more resilient. And isn't that what every organization truly needs? In the time of the Buddha, there was a merchant named Anathapindika. He was wealthy beyond imagination, but also deeply kind and mindful. He supported the Sangha and treated his workers not as tools, but as family. He built one of the greatest monasteries, the Jetavana Monastery, out of love and generosity. Why do I mention him? Because he understood what many modern leaders are just beginning to discover, that kindness and clarity are not opposite to success. They are the foundation of it. Imagine a company where leaders begin their meetings with a mindful breath, where, instead of cutting corners, employees are encouraged to cut distractions, where profit is pursued, but not at the cost of the soul. This is not a dream. It is happening. From Silicon Valley to Singapore, from New York to New Delhi, the ripples of mindfulness are spreading. I once walked into a multinational company's office in Japan. The employees removed their shoes at the door. The boardroom had a little Zen garden. Every afternoon, the entire floor paused for 5 minutes of silent sitting. That company had some of the lowest turnover rates and highest job satisfaction scores in the region. A wise leader from that company said to me, "Monk, we realize something. Stress is expensive. Burnout costs us more than any failed project ever did, and it's true. Research today, though born from labs and statistics, echoes what the Buddha taught over 2,500 years ago. A restless mind causes suffering. A mindful mind leads to joy. I want to speak now to those of you who are employees. You may not be the CEO. You may not set the policies, but you can be a lighthouse. You can pause before reacting. You can listen without judging. You can take a mindful breath before replying to an email that frustrated you. That is leadership. That is transformation. And if you are in leadership, I humbly invite you to lead with presence. Before you enter the meeting room, take one deep breath. Before you give feedback, ground yourself in compassion. Before you make a decision, ask, is this aligned with wisdom and kindness? Mindfulness is not weakness. It is clarity. The sharpest sword is the calmest hand. Let me share with you the story of Kumar, a mid-level manager from India. He once flew into a rage when his team made a mistake. A friend gave him a small book on the teachings of the Buddha. Skeptical, he read a few lines. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Those words struck him. He started meditating just 5 minutes a day, then 10, then 20. 6 months later, his team said to him, "You've changed. You listen now. We feel safe." And then something beautiful happened. Their performance improved not because they feared him, but because they trusted him. Trust, my dear friends, is the soil in which great work grows. And mindfulness is the water that nourishes it. In Buddhist practice, we speak of the Eightfold Path: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Now imagine a company where these 8 principles are lived. What might right speech look like in an email? What might right livelihood look like in an ethical business model? The ancient path can walk alongside the modern path. They are not in conflict. They are companions. In Thailand, I met a CEO who turned an entire floor of his company into a meditation hall. Employees could walk in anytime. They were not tracked, not judged, just welcomed. He told me, "I don't manage people. I manage my own mind. The rest flows from that." How profound. And how true. I know many of you here today are tired. You seek something more than just another promotion. You want meaning. You want peace. You want to feel human again. And so I say to you, return to the breath. Return to this moment. Even in the middle of the busiest day, you can close your eyes and feel your feet touching the earth. That is sacred. That is enough. I once watched a janitor at a university in Singapore sweeping the hallway with such grace, such mindfulness that it felt like a meditation. I asked him, "Why do you sweep like this?" He smiled and said, "Because I am sweeping my mind too." And so, whether you are the founder or the intern, whether you wear a tie or a uniform, remember this: the quality of your presence is your greatest offering. Let us not wait for burnout to wake us up. Let us awaken now. Do not think you need to escape your job to find peace. Bring peace into your job. You don't need to quit to find your path. Walk your path right where you are. The Buddha said, "As a lotus rises from the mud, pure and fragrant, so too can we rise from the busyness of the world, untouched, clear, and free." And I believe that this rising is already happening in the minds of conscious employees, in the hearts of mindful leaders, and in the cultures of brave companies who dare to slow down. And look within. You are part of this awakening. Before I go, I ask of you this: when you return to your workplace, take with you one thing. Just one. Let it be your breath. Let it be your pause. Let it be your smile. These are not small things. These are seeds of transformation. And if today's sharing brought you a little calm, a little insight, a little clarity, then I gently invite you, please support this journey. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Buddha's Wisdom, not for numbers or fame, but so that these teachings may reach those who are still lost in noise and seeking silence. Together, let us build a world where businesses do not just succeed, but awaken. May you be well. May you be mindful. May you be free.